To get into work mode in about an hour, but I wanted to kind of get on. I was catching this video posted by BLK TMZ, Black TMZ, and he's reposting a conversation that Tyreek had in a round table, right? And for some reason, Tariq has been allowing this guy named Chaotic the Truth Teller to get on the mic, be in his spaces, having a voice, among foundational Black Americans. And this guy has been just spewing, basically white supremacist vitriol. And he makes a note of saying, and this is a Black looking man, right? He makes a note of saying that, well, he thinks that Black women are jealous of Pamela Anderson, and white women in general. He thinks that, he has a very high regard for white women, right? And, he's definitely one of these Black guys who have a lower opinion about Black people. He claims that he was born in America, but I believe this guy is a product of immigrants. And this, again, goes into this conversation of delineation, right? Because you have all these Black looking people they're on these platforms, right? And some of them are spewing just the most vile, stereotypical and generalized vitriol about Black people. And the reoccurring conversations that these people like to say is that Black people have lower IQs, right? Black people have lower IQs. Now, I'm going to tell you, I am speaking from my own experience. When I say that, I have three children, I've seen three children go through the school districts, right? Um, I have always lived in mixed race neighborhoods, higher tax bracket areas, because I wanted the best opportunities for my kids education wise. Education, the best education in the United States boils down to tax bracket. Don't let anybody else tell you differently. All right? Education in the United States boils down to your tax bracket. All right? So, as a Black American mom, I've recognized this. This is why I've had to acquire skills that could pay me higher bills, so that I can put my kids in these school districts where they could have an advantage, right? And I say that to say that, even with my kids being in these predominantly white areas, across the board, these kids are not turning out any more intelligent than they have in the past. This is across the board, across race groups. The United States is not turning out global competitors. They are not turning out intelligent people. And when you peel back the layers of the US education system, you will not find Black people, right? You will not find Black people running a show. And this is just word 100. When it comes to the curriculum, what they decide in the US education system, these are not Black people making these calls, right? They may have Black faces, little buck dancers, maybe immigrant tether looking folks talking about what we should have in a school district, but these are not Black people running the show. So if Black Americans have lower IQs, right, then that's not an indication of genetics, because we've had way too many Black inventors. We've had way too many Black creators to even suggest that is true. And I'm not talking about industry sectors, because even in the private sector, let's just face it, the narrative is not to focus on private sector Blacks at all, right? Because if you focus on private sector Blacks, then that is an indication that there is some intelligence. There is some indication that there is some Black success. And that's why they don't focus on private sector Blacks a lot. But my question is, if Blacks are lower IQ, what is the root cause of that? What is the root cause of that? You have a whole teacher talking about blacks having lower IQs, do your freaking job. Do your freaking job. See, a lot of these people don't really understand, and I'm going to give you some experience, all right? Because I have a 6-year-old, I have a 10-year-old, right? And they are in elementary school. And I was so happy that my daughter had a black teacher this year. This is her first black teacher. This is her first black teacher this year. And I was excited because I'm like, yes, I feel like there's a greater chance that somebody would be actually interested in my education. But let me tell you about my black son, right? My son is actually very good at math. He's interested in math. It's actually his favorite subject. He hates reading. When it comes to math, if we go through these problems and through it in a logical way, he can get it and he's off on his own, right? But it literally takes me at home breaking these concepts down for him. You guys can see my whiteboard in the background. This is the learning board. This is the homeschool board because I don't trust these people, right? And I say this to say that if I were not doing my job at home to make sure I'm reinforcing it, my son would be the lower IQs because these teachers are not, and I feel bad for the teachers. I do feel bad for the teachers because they are bound to this curriculum. These people are not creating the curriculum. They're not having any autonomy with this most of the time. They are doing what they're told. They're doing what they're told. And a lot of these people, they're teaching these kids these convoluted ways of learning these things, and it's just a confusion house. The U.S. education system is nothing more than a confusion house. These kids are not critically thinking. They're being bombarded with a lot of information, and then they're overwhelmed, and they're expected to test it. And guess what? They're going to pass the test because no child is left behind in the United States these days. So, let me get to some of these comments, but I'm just going to tell you people, you're talking about intelligence level. I want to know where they're pulling these samples. I want to know where when they want to create these little metrics of black versus white student IQ levels, I want to know where they're pulling these metrics. I want to know which economic class they're pulling these metrics. Because they're pulling these metrics from the poverty line, and this is the sample that they're using for black intelligence, screw you, that's a bad sample. That's a bad sample. Because U.S. education boils down to tax bracket. It really does. So I want to know where they're pulling these samples about black intelligence and black IQs. The next thing is this dude, this Buckdancer dude, he's like, I go to my white bookstores and my white coffee shops, and white people, they just love reading books. They just love it. They just love reading books. It's just their thing. They're very intellectually stimulating. They want to have intellectually stimulating conversations. It's like, what black people are you around? Stop hanging around the poverty line. Stop hanging around poverty line blacks. If you want real black intelligence, you kind of got to go up the economic classes. And this is what a lot of people don't realize. Black intelligence, you can look at it, you can gauge it by the economic classes. And what you're going to find is that the higher you go up there, the higher the intelligence, the higher the IQs of the blacks. And I'm one of those people that believe that intelligence is subjective. Because I know a lot of white looking or non-black dummies running around here can't comprehend nothing to save their lives, right? And they'd be the first person to want to think that I have a lower IQ when I could probably run circles around their asses in my sleep. But I'm just gonna leave it at this because I got to get going and I didn't want to be on very long. But education in the United States boils down to tax bracket. Black people are not and have not been leading the charge on the U.S. education system. Those have been non-black people facilitating how our children should be learning. And I think if you ask even a white American, they will say, I don't feel like my kid is as intelligent now as I was when I came out of school. I don't think my kid is as prepared now as I was when I came out of school. And this is generation after generation. American education has degraded. So you can't even really fully measure IQ levels accurately in this society. You really can't. You really can't. IQ in America really boils down to who is independently studying. It really is. The higher IQ people are the people who have been able to go beyond a classroom. The greatest intelligence you will ever learn in life is called this game called life. Most of my intelligence was increased not in the classroom, but by living this game called life, making sense of things and actually reading and comprehending. You can read until the cows come home, but do you comprehend what you read? Do you understand what you have read? Do you know how to apply it? See, that's the test of real intelligence, right? Because if somebody tell me, oh, I read a Thomas Sowell book and Thomas Sowell said this, and I'm like, now break it down to a real experiential level and tell me what you thought about it. And they can't do it. They're just going off of what this dude said instead of looking at reality and making assessments for themselves. You know, and again, I'm a hyper intelligent black person. This is a hyper intelligent black person that you're looking at. All right. I will run circles around most people that came from Harvard when it comes to a debate. And that's just word 100, because I look at life way different than somebody that they paid in that classroom to teach them how to look at life. I'm going through the School of Hard Knocks. If you graduated from the School of Hard Knocks, what's up? What's up, alum? What's up, alum? You're probably one of the most intelligent people actually in society. And that's just what it is. People measure, I think people love to conflate intelligence with education. You can go out and get an education, but it may not make you any more intelligent than somebody who didn't. There are a lot of people running around here with 0 degrees, and they could flex all day on somebody that sat there for 4 to 8 years and heard somebody else dictate and indoctrinate them and how to think. Keep it 100. And, you know, to me, if you want to talk about black intelligence, we run on a way different intelligence than people want us to be running on. So you're not measuring us on the same level. You're not measuring the spirit of us on the same level at all. You know, and this conversation, like I said, it irritates me because it's only the ignorant people. It's only the ignorant people who need to feel better about themselves that cleave on to the fact that all black Americans are not intelligent. No matter how many times black Americans have proved that we are intelligent on many fronts, people still want to undermine our intelligence, and they're going to get enough of that. They're going to get enough of that. But anyways, let me know what you guys think, you know, but again, if we have a whole education system that's supposed to be top tier in the world, it should be turning out high IQ citizens of all colors. But my whole thing is most of our black kids are not even being taught by black people who have an interest in their success. Some of these people are riddled with hidden bias. We have a teacher in our school district. I'm not even kidding you. I went to this African American parents meeting for the first time, and the same white teacher's name popped up. And the same white teacher had to get checked by these black parents, right? Because she was obviously showing favoritism towards the white students. There is no place in the U.S. education system for inner bigots, and it's riddled with them. The U.S. education system is riddled with inner white supremacist bigots, and they're running a show. And I am going to say it's just white supremacists. It's supremacists, right? Because white people are delineating themselves these days. So let me be fair to the white folks in America, because I know y'all delineating too. But these are supremacist structures. They really are. They have zero intention. Matter of fact, they're threatened by Black people actually being able to be in an environment where their intelligence can be fostered. You know? So, I mean, this is just something to think about. You know, like I know, for example, my daughter does very well in these structures. She does very well. She plays the violin. She's in orchestra. She does great. But my son doesn't work well in these environments. So now I got to pull him out. I'm going to be pulling him out and just working out the homeschooling schedule for him. He got little friends in the block that he can play with. But I don't want him to be in this female dominated, white female dominated structure where, you know, they're going to just focus on emasculating him, you know, irritating him. Like my son's like, well, I'll ask her, like, can you explain this? And she'll just read the words. She won't give me an example like in a problem like you do. These people, and then so these people are in these schools frustrating these Black kids because they don't really have an interest in helping them understand, right? And so these kids are shutting down. And then when they feel like there's a disparity in the classroom with these teachers, they start acting out. And some of them don't really understand the hidden bigotry of some of these teachers. They don't understand the hidden bigotry of some of these teachers. All they know is, you're my teacher. You're supposed to be helping all of us. Why aren't you helping all of us the same? So there is an interest in Black students not being successful. They put these people in these school districts who uphold these ideas that they don't want Black kids to be successful. A lot of these people go into the classroom thinking that Black kids are inferior and can't learn, and they're already specializing their approach to this Black kid, even though the Black kid could be just as smart or not, if not smarter than any of those other kids. And this is how some of these school districts rock. I've had to check my school district because they like, oh, summer school. I'm like, why are you offering my kids summer school? Neither one of them are at academic risk. And like, oh, our summer school is different. We recognize that there's some parents who can't afford to send their kids to a vacation or something or have things to do for them. So we just selectively offer this. So you just selectively offer it to the Black parents, right? Because all the Black parents in the circle, they got them. And their kids were not at academic risk. So I told her straight up, I'm in financial services. My kid's dad is in financial services. We have plans for our kids over the summer. We do not need you to think of us like that. Give it to somebody who really, truly demonstrates an at risk. My kids are the best dressed kids at this school. And it's just like some of these people are invested in Black inferiority. They make their minds up. And when I checked this coordinator for summer, she's like, oh, yeah, well, we should get you off the list right away. There's a lot of racism in the U.S. education system. There's a lot of racism in the U.S. education system. They hired these bigots to teach these kids, and some of them go into the classroom with a lot of discrimination. Lots of discrimination. So when people make these narratives, oh, Black people have IQ, Black Americans? You mean the American Blacks? The American Blacks who have been in this America for centuries, those Blacks have lower IQs? Somebody's not doing their job. Somebody has a special interest in these Black kids being at a lower frequency. Stop playing with this conversation. I know it makes some white supremacist people feel better and some of these little Black supremacist buck dancers, but we got to call a spade a spade. And if you're going to be out here making statements, let's talk about the root cause of your statement. Because I'm not somebody to just sit there and will just listen to somebody make blanket statement. I will challenge your ass. Put your numbers and your experience on the table, and I will put mine. Because I have a valid reason for why I feel about anything. And so when I hear people say Black people are lower IQs, I want to know your premise. I want to know your premise, right? I want to know your premise, and I want to know if you understand how the US education system works. Because if you don't, shut up. But anyways, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Honey, I'm doing better than probably you, so you can just go kick rocks. It's always these dumb people. You could be facilitating an intelligent conversation and, oh, stop crying, stop crying. It's like, you go sit down. You just mad because we talking about your ignorant people and calling them out. Don't put your shit on me. No colors, just shades. Everyone is the same. You would think that we all bleed red, but some of these people are running around with supremacy. Some of these people actually have supremacist doctrines saying that we are better than these people. Some of these people running around with fake identities thinking that they're ancient people that they're not, just so that they can uphold some idea of supremacy of themselves among others. A lot of these people are weak. They're weak Satanists. They're weak Satanists. And I would say you put any Black American child who has the same environment as a white American child, being fostered in the same environment, you're not going to tell me just because that kid is Black that he's going to have a lower IQ. I've seen lots of Black kids flexing on white kids. Flexing on white kids. The white kids didn't even think about it because they're thinking, oh, he's lower. He's not going to be able to do anything, and they flexed. All right, so people, you guys in modern America, 2024, if any fleshly human in this nation is running around with supremacy and thinking, oh, I'm smarter than somebody else because I have a color construct, put your intelligence on the table. Put your intelligence on the table with a real Black person who is intelligent. That's all I want to know. Let's do some intelligence wars just to make sure. Let's get some real, not these buck dancing Black tokens that will say any old stupid thing for their little satanic machine. I'm talking about real, independent Black intelligence. You guys can't play with that. Some of you people can't play with that. You can't, because you can't match wits. This is just reality. So anyways, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. You know, intelligence is subjective. It is very subjective. Being educated and being intelligent are not quite the same things. All right? The most intelligent people in society today do not have a degree. They can reason. They can look at things from an experiential viewpoint and make clear assessment. A lot of these people coming out of these institutions with these degrees thinking that they're high intelligent because they sit down and listen to somebody indoctrinate them and tell them what to think, right? These people aren't intelligent. They are not intelligent. They are exposed. They've been information exposed, but they don't even know how to apply it. So get out of here with that. Anyways, guys, have a wonderful day. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you won't abuse yourself, don't abuse your neighbor. That's all I got to say. Bye.